Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 95 of the Showbound podcast. I'm your host, Michael Raskin, here as always with Ethan Cardwell, live from his bed. Cardsy, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. I mean, I just woke up 3 minutes ago, so we're getting an early morning podcast going here. But you know what? I'm excited to be here. Gonna bring the energy here this morning.
That's what we need, man. Um, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, I guess. Like, what have you been up to last week? You're kind of full swing off-season training mode, I guess. Like, how's that been going?
Yeah, yeah, not quite full swing yet. I mean, like I haven't been back on the ice yet. Just trying to let my body kind of heal, recover before I get back into that. I think a few weeks off the ice is important. At the start of the off season, to kind of recover, really make yourself excited for when you do get back out there. So I'll probably hit the ice next week, but yeah, I've been back in the gym, really excited just to be back in the gym with my trainer. Got a great trainer here in Whitby, so he takes great care of me, and it's good stuff getting in there and working out and competing with the boys every morning. So that's been awesome. And then yeah, no, a whole lot of golf and yeah, the we've gotten some nice weather, so I can't complain. And I know you got a golf story for me, so I want to hear this actually.
Oh yeah, yeah, we could get it right into the golf story. So I go golfing last week, and it was like the course was dry and like in good conditions. Like I don't think it rained in a couple days, but we get to the 16th hole and it was just like it's lower down, I guess, elevation wise compared to the rest of the course. So maybe the rain like runs down there. So it was like a muddy hole. And uh so yeah, we're taking the cart down. It's one of those the tee like you hit from the tee box and there's like a lot of rough and then the fairway starts like after maybe like 100 yards, let's say. One of those, right?
Yeah.
So you got to get it there. So we do. It was just me and my one other buddy. Like we're playing two of us. We get it there, and then the way the shape of the hole is, like the cart path splits. So when you get to that fairway, you can go. It goes both ways, left and right. But
Yeah.
both our balls were on the left side of the fairway, so we're like, okay, we're gonna go left. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and as we turn left, we see the cart path is just like covered in like a muddy water, and we're
Uh-huh.
like, okay, maybe we should just go right and like cut around across the fairway. So as we go to turn around, like, come off the cart path, instantly get stuck in the cart. It's so muddy. And we're like, whatever, it's no big deal. Like we can get out of this. We're trying to reverse out. We're trying to go forward out, like turn left, turn right. But we're like in here. So he gets out of the cart. We both kind of push. I'm on the gas with one foot pushing. We get it out. And so we're like, okay, we can't turn around. We're just gonna like let's just drive through the water. Like keep your feet in the cart. Let's go. Um, so we right when we get to like where the water is, we get stuck again. And we're like, we're stuck this time, man. Like we tried. So we even like so this is where it gets funny. So I'm out there pushing. I just bought new shorts, pretty nice golf shorts, too. Maybe I'll show you them later. But I'm wearing like a new outfit basically. And I'm like pushing but on the front side of the cart, not on the back. So because I didn't want to get all this mud on me. So I was like pushing from the handle of like the windshield forward. But the tires are kicking up mud. So all of a sudden I'm covered in mud. My buddy's already covered in mud from before. So we're now covered in mud and we're like, this, this. We're on the 16th hole. Let's take our clubs and just walk the rest of the course. We can't get it out. So we're covered in mud, the two of us. We just walk. We leave the cart. It's like 7:15 p.m. at this point. So I was like, okay, there might be someone in the clubhouse. I'm just gonna call the clubhouse and say, like, hey, like, I'm just gonna be that, I'm not gonna leave it. I'm gonna tell them what happened.
Yeah.
I called the clubhouse, no one picked up. So I was like, whatever, I tried. They're gonna find the cart. They're gonna get it. So we just keep
Dude,
playing. We just decided to pick up our ball and walk near the green, like within like just chip on and finish the hole type of thing. Cause we were like we didn't want to be that slow because we were taking forever on the hole.
yeah. Yeah. And
Um
you're leaving carts out there. I mean, you got that's actually funny, man. But like
well
I
and not even that, not even it keeps going. So then
oh
when
shit.
we got to the next hole, the guys behind us, they're screaming, hey, hey, like, is this your cart? We're like, yeah, like it got stuck. He's like, no, it's not. And the guy, the guy comes and drives it up to us at the tee box in the 17th hole, covered in mud.
No.
He drives our cart to us, and he's like, "We got it out for you." I was like,
So
"Can I
you
buy you a beer or something?" He's like, "No, I'm good, man." Like, and so there's just all of us covered in mud. We finished the round. Like, it was hilarious. Like,
you go out for a golf round, it looks like you just came from like a paintball fight or something like that.
yeah, it
That's
was so
actually
embarrassing when he came with the card. He's like, I was like, "How'd you get it unstuck?" Like, we tried. He's like, "You guys just didn't try hard enough." But I was honestly,
and
yeah, we could have got it unstuck, but we didn't want to. Like, it was disgusting.
no,
We were just like, whatever.
like you're golfing. You're not trying to get absolutely drenched in mud.
Yeah, like we were pushing
Back,
it. We could have pushed harder, yeah, but I didn't want to go like get my feet, like dig my ankles down in the mud and
yeah,
really get in there, like but
I,
they did. So
I'm
anyway, it
not.
was hilarious. Got a
That's
95.
That's ridiculous, man. Good for that guy though, eh? If that guy's listening to this, continue that hard work and effort. It'll get you big things in this life. If you're willing to go
Yeah,
that far for a golf cart.
for a stranger's golf cart too, but it
Yeah,
was
legit.
so funny. Like, so yeah, that was the story of the round last week, and I knew like right when it happened, I was like, I gotta tell Cardsy, this is so embarrassing for me.
That's like that's like the most rasking on the golf course thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Oh man. So anyway, that was that. Now I guess I'll drop our guest this week. We had record, or I guess I had recorded this interview. This was during your playoffs, so we'll say Cardsy. I guess you're not in this interview. It's with Luke Philp, who played up with the Chicago Blackhawks this year, most of the year with the Rockford Ice Hogs in the AHL. I like his story, and you guys will too, because he is a U Sports guy. We all know I like U Sports, and he played 3 years at the University of Alberta, won a national championship with them, and then signed his entry level contract right out of school. Like, didn't sign an A deal, went right into an ELC, and then got a second contract where he then eventually got his games with the Chicago Blackhawks, and now he signed a third contract. He just signed a 2 year extension with the Blackhawks. So really cool story with Luke Philp. We'll get to that later. Just a cool guy and shows how you're never out of it. Hard work always wins. So it was pretty inspiring. But we
I
can,
I love
yeah,
like you said, obviously you love these stories because that's what you're preaching and that's kind of like you can use these stories as like recruitment almost for you guys at Brock and stuff like that. But it's so cool for the young kids and especially for the kids who the OHL draft was like 2 weeks ago, and kids see there's many different ways that like you can finally make it, whether you go undrafted in the OHL or whether you're first overall in the OHL and you end up at U Sports. Like there's so many different ways that you can find your way through the game, and just when you think like you're down, it's just about hard work really, and I'm sure he's going to talk a lot about that here.
yeah. It actually we talk about his work ethic. It's a really good interview. I'm excited to finally get this one out there, and I hope you guys all like it. I'm sure you will. But we can touch on the NHL playoffs a bit now that my Leafs are eliminated. It was okay. So I've calmed down. It's probably a good thing 'cause it's Monday as we record this. I guess the Leafs got eliminated what, Friday at this point. I think.
Yeah, it's
And
day too, by the way.
yeah, so
Sleep at night, but
I was able to, yeah, I'm calm. I've calmed down about it since, but man, I was mad, and I was okay. I can admit Florida in that round was a better team,
yeah,
but
well, Florida's playing a really good hockey, man.
yeah, like they were the better team. But I think in that game five, I don't know if you watched it or saw the highlights. Like, I think the Leafs got screwed pretty hard by the refs, like really hard, even with the non-goal call. And then there was uh, that elbow on Marner's head with 10 seconds left behind the play out of nowhere. And then there's the goal where Gudis holds the stick of Yarncroke, the OT winner. There's just like any of those, like if even one of those goes the Leafs' way, like they probably win that game. Yeah, they probably still lose the series, but then at least if it goes to six, all the Leafs fans can shut up and stop asking to fire everybody and trade everybody because now we made it a series. Like, so what do you think about that game, that series?
Like I just said, I thought Florida played really good, and their $10 million goalie, or he
Yeah.
played really good, and I'm actually like I'm happy to see a guy like that have success because, it's hard like being in his position and getting all the criticism he has for the last few years and stuff. So to be able to rebound and show up when it matters most for a franchise who I think yeah, they won the President's Trophy last year and just
Yeah.
didn't have the success that they wanted, and to now come in and do what they're doing as an eighth seed. And this is a team I always thought like was really good all season, and obviously led by a sandpaper type player who just knows how to get the job done in Matt Kachuk. And they got deep lines who know their roles. We got Dalps out there buzzing. So no, I thought they played a textbook series on how you're gonna do it, shut the other team down offensively. So they didn't let the Leafs get more than 2 goals, I believe. So you're gonna create a lot of success for yourselves if you can do that on the defensive end of the puck, and then they took care of business on the offensive side, and yeah, they made quick work of it, and they just work so hard, and they play the game the right way. So that's my thoughts on how Florida played there. And I mean, there can be so much criticism, and obviously us being in and around the Toronto area, you're a Leaf fan, so you're following it and stuff. But players go in slumps, and players can't find it for a few games and stuff. And yeah, it's just sometimes it's bad timing, right? Like, and then next thing you know, in the playoffs, you don't really have time to kind of get out of a slump if it is going on and stuff like that. So it's just an unfortunate time.
Yeah. I still think like I believe in the core. I think every Leafs fan seems to have given up on them already. But I just think keep it together. Like we're close. I don't. I agree. Like I don't think we're there yet. Because I'm the GM. I'm on the team. I don't think the Leafs are there
Yeah, they're
yet.
looking for the. Nobody has a contract right now. There you go.
Yeah, they might. They
Put your
might be looking for me. Hey,
put
I've
put
had some success
your
at
in.
Brock. But I mean, hey, Dubas, the former Brock and Brock hockey team member as well, not as a player, just like me. So there you go. I think we're the team's close. Like keep the core and just keep building around it. They picked up some good pieces. Like this Sam Lafferty, man. Never really saw him play. He can play. Like he's a good fourth liner. Um
Yeah.
anyway, also another Canadian team couldn't quite get it done. Edmonton. I don't know what to say. Like, there's McDavid and Draisaitl. Like I guess you need more from the supporting cast around them. I think that's kind of like the summary still, right?
Yeah, like I mean, we're always so quick to just jump to say that they didn't step up, or that the team, the supporting cast didn't step up. But in reality, too, you got to remember they're playing a really, really good Vegas Golden Knight team who had home ice in that series because they were better than them in the regular season. So it shouldn't be really any surprise that a team higher in the standings and a team who plays a really good team game with a ton of depth can win in the playoffs, as the Vegas Golden Knights have so far. And like I said in the Florida series, like Vegas played really well. They knew what they had to do, like limit Draisaitl and McDavid as much as they can, and you're gonna have success. And that's kind of what happened later, and like almost to the point where it's like, okay, McDavid and Draisaitl, they're not going to get 5 tonight and kind of boost us past the win. And Vegas got a lot of offense themselves, and Marcia so stepped up huge. He played unbelievable this series. So good to see that they're kind of hitting their form. But yeah, like I said, like it's so easy to say, oh my God, why didn't they get it done? But like you got to sit back and say, okay, made it to the top 8, and that team we just played was a hell of a team. Like sometimes you're not gonna win, you know.
Yeah, I mean they are the better team, and it just seemed like everyone was picking Edmonton. And when you say that, I don't know why. Like,
It's easy to
yeah,
pick at, though, like
yeah,
because of the hype and because of McDavid and Draisaitl. Like, why wouldn't you pick Edmonton when you could automatically just take the 2 best players in the world? But in reality, in the playoffs, it's hard for those guys to do it as much as they did. Like they still lit it up, and it still wasn't enough. It's crazy, but
yeah. And Vegas, here's a stat for you. Vegas has been a team for 6 years. 4 out of the 6 years they've made the conference final. Isn't that crazy?
that's nuts, man. And you know what else is nuts is the fact that Seattle made it as far as they did. Like,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, we're just gonna piggyback right into that series go now, but um, they they played incredible, and we talked about them on the pod with not really having any like huge superstars and still just like absolutely chugging along. And for a team who was what they finished like second or third last year or something
Yeah.
as an expansion team, first year in the league, right? And then to now go and do what they did is it's it's insane, really. Like it's unreal.
It's a win for them on the season. I mean, they barely squeaked into the playoffs and then they knock off the cup champs. Like getting into the playoffs, I think was, a win for their season. And then getting through that first round, that's just icing on the cake. And then they get to game 7, almost get to the third round. Like they have a bright future, no doubt about it. They're going to be looking good. Everyone kind of counted them out, but they looked awesome. And another, you talk about like no superstars, a budding emerging superstar, a former guest of our podcast, Wyatt Johnston. This guy is making a huge name for himself. What do you think of him?
Yeah, I mean, you don't score 24 in the regular season and 4 already in the playoffs by mistake, especially as a 19, 20-year-old in the NHL. I mean, like the guy has played absolutely like it's been incredible to watch him all year. And I saw actually the guys on Spit and Chicklets saying like the progression that he had. He I played with Wyatt, like as most people know who listen to that interview, like we played together every summer and stuff like that. So Wyatt always played a year up with us in the summer hockey, and then to watch him grow, and then you kind of lose touch for a few years when you get a little bit older and summer hockey isn't so popular and stuff. And then he goes 6th overall to the OHL, has a pretty good rookie year, gets 30 points, and then boom, COVID happens, and there's so much uncertainty with where guys would go in the draft and stuff like that without having a season under their belt. And he ended up going in the first round, and people are like, oh, 30 points first round, but you always knew, like, since this guy was 7 years old, he's going to be a special player. And then boom, he comes back to the OHL, 124 points, and then hops right into the NHL as a teenager and just takes it by storm. And that's a team who has set him up in a great position to have success with the line he's been on this year and the living situation with Pavelski. And they've done it right, and he's done it right himself to be a pro and to transform his game into a pro so fast.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're gonna have to get this guy back on, man. I can't wait. Like I want to talk to him, but he's like he had that goal last night to make it 2-0 with like, I don't know, a minute, 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes left in the game that kind of put Dallas over the hump. And it was a huge goal. I don't know if you saw it, but he like beat out an icing call and then just like went backhand shelf in tight over the shoulder of the goalie. It was just like I can't, like, why even try that? He's that confident in the shot and obviously like so confident that it worked, and he's so good. And what a moment for him to like score that goal at home to basically get your team into the
Oh,
third round. Like that's one
it's
that he's
insane.
gonna remember forever.
Yeah, nuts. Especially, yeah, to put the icing on the cake for them and push them to the Western Conference Final. But I think we're set up for a night if two good matchups. Like I mean, you got two. I think you got 4 teams that maybe a lot of people. I think a lot of people like Dallas going into the playoffs, but I think you got the other 3 or 4 are teams that maybe people didn't even have going to the conference final, and now here they are, and it's going to be exciting. All these teams are kind of peaking at the right time. It's not like any of them limp through their series by any means. Like they're playing good hockey, um, and they have been. So I'm excited to continue to watch here some good hockey here. But speaking about that, I want to touch on the OHL. The
Mhm.
OHL finals obviously was tied up 1-1. I don't know if you caught any of the game last night,
Yeah,
but
I watched the whole thing last night.
yeah, so Peterborough obviously goes up 2-1 in the series with an overtime winner last night. And let me tell you, that hockey looked really good on TV. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
just, but it looked fast. A little bit sloppy at times and stuff because the boys are flying around. But no, it looked like a great game.
Yeah, well, so I'll say great from an entertainment standpoint, but it looked fast because it was so back and forth, which isn't necessarily what you want. It was just it was odd man rush this way, that way, going back, break down this way, break down there, and it makes for a really entertaining and exciting game to watch. But I mean, and they even said it on the broadcast. I think like as a coach, you hate that for your team, like you don't
Yeah.
like. And so for me in my like video coaching brain, I'm just like the D zone. Oh my god, what are you doing? There was one goal against Peterborough gave up. Oh no, it was the high stick tip that got waved off, but there was all five guys on Peterborough were on the one side of the net, not even like stacked at the center lane. They were like to the right of the post, like all were there. Like it was, and then leave a guy wide open in front of the net who scores. Obviously, it got waved off, but I was just like, the D zone, man, please, like someone get to the net. But it was entertaining, no doubt about it, and
Well,
I think
and that's why I think like the people I don't think people understand like the level of like entertainment value going to an OHL game is. Like typically you're going to an OHL game, you're probably seeing at least 6 or 7 goals at the bare minimum. There's going to be a lot of goals most likely, and everyone plays fast. There's defensive breakdowns which cause opportunities. So the games themselves are super entertaining if you don't already watch OHL hockey, and if there's a team in your city for next year or whatever, I really suggest you go and catch a couple games if you haven't before, because I mean now I'm pumping the tires of the league, but no, it's great hockey. I was glad to see that the game looked so good on television.
Yeah, it was sick. I'm definitely gonna be watching throughout the series. Really good hockey, like you said. So we'll see what happens. And the next game goes Wednesday night, which is I believe when this podcast will come out. So uh exciting series ahead. But I guess do you want to send it over? Let's send it over to the interview now and we'll catch you guys after. I hope you guys enjoy it. We're pleased to be joined now by Luke Philp. Philly, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Happy to have you on. So I'm a Usports guy myself. Like I work for Brock University hockey, been there for 6 years, and every Usports guy knows who you are and wants to be like you. And I was just telling one of the guys on the team today, like, oh, I got Luke Philp coming on the podcast here, and he's like, oh, tell him thanks for setting my career path out for me, like doing it first and showing me what I'm supposed to do. So guys think like that, and on this podcast, we've had Phil Maie, who did it from UNB, played for Washington, and Logan Thompson, who played for Brock. He's on Vegas now. So you're an example of that it's not over if you go to U Sports and you work hard, you can make it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, for myself particularly, yeah, I guess never thought I was out of it, and I think lots of guys in U Sports feel the same way. And it's a different path to pro hockey, but there's definitely a lot more guys you see now signing, contracts out of U Sports and getting, looks in both the American League, and then you see guys playing NHL games too. So it's awesome to see.
Yeah, it's great. So you're with Rockford in the AHL right now, and you guys are in the final stretch of the season here. So how are you guys shaping up heading into playoffs?
Yeah, we've had a good team all year. Our team's actually changed quite a bit. They made a bunch of trades with Chicago, and some of the guys in the American League with us were part of those trades. And then um, we got new guys coming in the American League as well. So our team looks a whole lot different than what it's looked like all year. But we got a good team, and we have lots of good players, and just trying to, you know, gel with each other with these new players as quickly as possible. Moving into playoffs here, I think we got like around 15 games left.
Yeah. So I'll go back quickly to your WHL career and touch on that a little bit. But you were drafted and played for Kootenay for the majority of your WHL career. So firstly, going back to the beginning, like how did you find the adjustment to that level coming from minor hockey? And then even you split a bit in the AJ, is that right?
Yeah, so I started off AJHL when I was 16. I went to Kootenay Ice Camp, got cut, hung around for a bit, and then went back to Canmore, my hometown, and I played as a 16-year-old for Canmore, the Eagles in the AJHL. And I mean, I was signed to the WHL though, so my plan was always to go back there. I had a good year in Canmore, lots of fun playing for that team, and then played like played up a little bit at the end of the year in Kootenay, like played the last 15 or 20 games with them. And then as a 17-year-old was my rookie year in the dub. And then had, yeah, some great years in Kootenay. I really enjoyed playing there. Like small town vibes, Cranbrook, BC. Um, got really close with teammates and really enjoyed my time there. And then as a 20-year-old, I was traded to Red Deer, where um, I was we were the Memorial Cup hosts. So the second half of the year there, I played in Red Deer and hosted the Mem Cup. We didn't win. We that was the year that London was pretty loaded. They had a lot of familiar names in the NHL, like Marner, Dvorak, Chuck. So they were a pretty good team. But it was pretty cool to play in the Memorial Cup, and yeah, I really enjoyed my time throughout the dub.
Yeah. Well, I remember that London team. That year I was working for the Niagara Ice Dogs in the OHL and played against London in the finals that year, and London ended up sweeping 4-0 in the
Yeah.
final, which they were just so much better than every other team in the OHL. So I wasn't shocked to see them win it that year. And then even before uh talking about Red Deer, just going back to like your NHL draft year, and you have the late birthday, so it was a year after a lot of the guys your age. But you had that year, I wrote it down here. You had 31 goals and 77 points in 71 games. So like, I'm just wondering, were you expecting to be drafted that year, or were you surprised you weren't? Like, how did that go for you?
Um, yeah, I think I was expecting to be drafted. But at the same time, lots of guys I'd known were taking interviews with NHL teams, and I didn't really have any interviews or anything like that. I had spoken to, I think, one team, um, the Flyers, before the drafts had mentioned to me that they were interested in me. Um, or actually, that might have been the following year, like my 19-year-old year. So 18-year-old, my actual draft year, yeah, like wasn't really talking to any NHL teams, but I think I was hoping to get drafted, and it didn't happen. I was pretty disappointed, but and it just kind of kept grinding. Still was hoping to get drafted the following year. Didn't happen, but again, kind of disappointed, but I guess just didn't see it at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking through your points and stuff, and points don't tell the whole story. Obviously, you got to watch the player, but your points were good enough, like to, in my opinion, like you see guys with less points getting drafted, and then you were on the trajectory of like going up each year, so you were showing consistent improvement. But um, even in that Red Deer season, so you get traded there. Um, did you get to pick that? Like, did you have any say in where you wanted to go, or like how did that trade go down?
Not at all. I was excuse me, I hurt my ankle. I broke my ankle in Kootenay. I was apparently supposed to be traded earlier in the season, broke my ankle, and then so I was just kind of waiting around, and then I knew the GM. I'd played for him for 4 years now, and he said like he was open with me that I think they were trying to trade me, but then he didn't tell me any of the talks, any of the teams, anything like that until it actually happened. Um,
So you must have been
right.
fired up to go to Red Deer then, like knowing they're hosting the Mem Cup.
Pretty excited, yeah. I mean, I'd never been traded before, but like, yeah, like Kootenay wasn't doing too well. They were well on their way to kind of rebuilding, and the team was, struggling that year. And then, yeah, I was pretty excited. Red Deer had already traded for a few other guys too, and it started to sort of load up the team, and I was, yeah, really excited to go there.
Yeah, and so online, I didn't really do too much research into it, but it says you wore the C there. Is that true? Or were you guys like sharing a C, or like what happened?
Yeah, I did wear the C. They had traded their captain away. Their captain was an overage player as well. Um, and he was a part of another deal. And then so yeah, there's no captain, and then I got named captain um a few weeks after I played my first game. I still had to go through some rehab and injury. Like I was still out of the lineup for a little bit once I arrived there, but yeah, it was awesome to be named captain of, a Memorial Cup host.
Yeah, it's crazy, and especially because you hadn't been there. So like, was it hard? getting to have that leadership role on with a group of guys you didn't really know?
A little bit, I think you could say. But there was already a bunch of, great older guys, like guys that have been around the team, like Red Deer for a while, but then same sort of thing. Um, there was a bunch of new guys coming in, so yeah, it was like probably the guys that have been there, it was a different feel for the room, but um, can't say I was expecting to be named captain, but when it happened, I did kind of the best I could. And yeah, unfortunately, we didn't win that year, but we ended up losing in the conference finals in the WHL playoffs to Brandon, the Wheat Kings, who eventually won the dub that year. And then in the Mem Cup, I think we lost out in the semifinal to Rouen Miranda.
Yeah.
Don't know if I pronounced that
I
right,
I
but
think that was pretty
yeah, yeah.
good. So like one more question on Red Deer and we can move forward. But so you got to play for Brent Sutter as the coach, and I'm sure you guys had a good relationship if he named you the captain. And I've heard a lot of stories about him because our assistant coach here at Brock was the assistant coach of Red Deer a couple years after you had left there. Um, so I'm hearing all about it. But what was Brent Sutter like, and how was he as a coach?
Brent was good. He was really good to me. He was hard nosed guy. I remember one of my first games in the lineup. He we played in Calgary. We got shit kicked pretty good, and then we didn't play well at all. And he kind of had one of those where he goes around the room, kind of, you know, I'm sure it's basically the whole team, but um, he was really good to me and like good to the players. He cared a lot about the players, and I enjoyed playing for him. But definitely a harder nosed coach for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it runs in the family. So then going forward, like we talked about U Sports already, but at that point, you're over a point per game 3 years in a row in the dub. And I'm sure, like, you could have probably went anywhere in the coast or anything, but did you have any offers in the A at that point, or was it like, was playing U Sports from there, like what was the decision like for you basically after that season?
I had nothing, honestly. Like into the summer, I didn't have a great 20-year-old year. It was like I broke my ankle and was out for a long time. And it was tough getting like back up to like speed because I think I missed 13 weeks with it. So, and then like being on crutches and stuff, it was a tough injury to come back from. Um, so I mean, I got traded to the Mem Cup host, like the Rebels. I was kind of in the spotlight, but never felt like I really found it again that year. Um, but then yeah, there was just no offers after that. I mean, my agent, I had talked to him, and I think I ended up getting an invite to San Jose's camp in the fall. Um, so I had kind of made I had prepared to go to school just in case pro didn't work out. So I was ready to move in and play at the U of A. And then when I went to San Jose's camp, they sent me home pretty quick.
Hmm.
Like right after like a couple of the rookie games, I was already back home. So there's just no contract offers or anything. So I was like, I guess I'm going to school, but I had already kind of enrolled and set up everything at U of A.
Yeah, I mean, that's the smart thing to do and have the backup option ready to go. And was U of A just a no-brainer, like being from Alberta and also just the powerhouse they are? Like, was there any decision in terms of that?
Um, it wasn't a no-brainer. I thought about it a lot. Like, I mean, it was hard to I thought about out east for a bit, like originally, but then, I mean, at the end of the day, I think I wanted to stay a little closer and out west. I thought about the Calgary schools as well. Like, I met with both, the Dinos there and then MRU, and I was considering, maybe going there, but the end of the day, just had to make a choice. Decided to go U of A,
Yeah.
probably just mainly because you could say the hockey, but then I met some of the guys on the team. Um, just had a good feel for it. Felt like the right place for me and decided to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll read some stats from your second and your third year there. So second year at Alberta, you had 40 points in 28 games, and your third year You had 45 points in 24 games, and for sure one national championship. Did you win more than one national championship there?
No, so we won my second year. We lost in the finals my third year.
Okay, and that second year that you guys won, we at Brock were at that national championship in Fredericton there. So I saw you guys
Okay.
play. But we lost in the first game to St. FX. It was
Okay.
a tough one. Just like last year too, we lost to St. FX at the Nationals as well, first game. So they
Shit.
got our number. But after that third year, you sign an NHL contract with the Calgary Flames. So can you talk about how you found out you had an NHL contract on the table, like how that all went down?
I was playing pretty well, kind of in the second half of the that third year. I was, and then I don't know, there's like Twitter attention, um, around like potential NHL teams being interested, and then my agent who hadn't spoken, I hadn't really kept in touch with him in the last 3 years. I mean, playing Usports, I wasn't playing pro, right? So, but he had reconnected with me and said like, hey, like teams are starting to be interested in you. My whole mindset though was I wasn't going to sign an AHL deal to leave school. I was I was gonna stay in school and graduate if there was only AHL offers on the table. Um, but if there was an NHL offer, I'd leave school. So I guess that's what he said. There was 3 or 4 teams interested in me, and that was kind of my what I said to myself in my head, like I'm not leaving unless there's an NHL deal. And then eventually Calgary was the first team to offer the NHL deal. I didn't know until that national tournament, though. I actually messed up my ankle. I had a high ankle sprain in the final game
Hmm.
against UNB, which we ended up losing. I left after the first period. It was a pretty shitty way to end it because it would have been
Yeah.
nice to go out, winning with the guys and getting another back-to-back championships. But so that one stung a lot. But um, the next day I found out that Calgary wanted to sign me to an NHL deal, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and Calgary's basically the hometown team from you. Like Canmore is what, like 30, 40 minutes away from Calgary?
Yeah, it's an hour west, so
An hour?
it's right before Banff there.
Okay, so I mean
Yeah,
it's the hometown team. Were you a Flames fan growing up?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so talk about signing with your hometown favorite team, like, and then like, I don't even know how cool is that for you. Just talk about that.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was kind of one of those things as it played out. I was like, I didn't think it would happen. I was like, no, like I'm not. And then when an offer was there, I was like, holy shit! I guess like it's really kind of happening. I got an NHL offer available here, um, so I was extremely excited. Um, I didn't really know at the time what I was gonna do if like school wise. I was
Yeah.
in like 5 courses in business, and I had gotten hurt, so I wasn't going to go to Stockton, but I'm sure if I didn't get hurt, I would have probably reported to Stockton. And then who knows if I would have finished any of those classes. But I ended up finishing some of those classes at the end of the year. I had to drop one because I failed the final or a midterm pretty badly. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, it
yeah,
doesn't matter now. Like,
I know. Yeah. Failed it like miserably. I was taking 5 business courses and I think it was managerial accounting. And I went in and looked at the test and had no clue what was on it. So,
yeah.
um, but yeah, I was back to the hockey part. I was pumped to sign in Calgary and, but it was one of those things I didn't really think it would actually happen until it did.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, so you played 3 seasons with Stockton and you put up good numbers. How'd you find it in Stockton?
I enjoyed it a lot. It was nice weather. We had 2 or 3 golf courses we could play at. So we had golf leagues all the time. Like our practices sometimes would get pushed up just so we can like make the whole get squeeze the whole round of golf in before the sun would go down. So it was really fun setup there. Great teammates, great guys. The only thing that wasn't great about Stockton was just the whole, arena and stuff like that. We didn't get many fans at all, so that was kind of frustrating to play, and it was pretty dead in there. Um, the team since moved to Calgary, they're in their first year playing as the Wranglers in Calgary, and it seems like they're doing better with attendance wise and stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed playing in California, but I guess that was the only thing. Just kind of um, sometimes tough to play in front of an atmosphere that wasn't, you know, that great.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have been cool for you to play for the Wranglers too in Calgary, but better the way it worked for you this year. So even just playing those 3 years and doing well, but not getting a call up, was there ever any doubt where you were just like this isn't working, like I'm not getting a look, like what was going through your mind at all, or did it not go that way for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the last year, um, I think I had my best year there. Last year our team was really good too. We made conference finals, like solid team. But honestly, like I could say like I was expecting to get called up. I was expecting to get called up, but like no one really got called up last year. The Flames were crazy, like really healthy. If you look at like lots of those guys, the forward group played like almost every game. Um, we had lots of good players like Matt Phillips, Jacob Pelche, who didn't even get called up last year, and they were kind of lighting it up the whole year. Um, so it was one of those where it's just kind of like timing didn't work out. I guess there wasn't much opportunity, but I can't blame. It wasn't like the organization wasn't calling me up. What the hell's going on here? It was more just there wasn't there wasn't any room up top. So but we had a really good group in Stockton, and it was it was really fun to play with those guys, and we had a good chance at going for a Calder Cup, which was exciting and fun to be a part of.
Yeah, no, chasing championships, like you know all about it on the good teams you've been on. So, um, and before even going to like Chicago, is there any just funny or memorable Stockton moments, like anything that comes to your mind as like story worthy, worth sharing from your time there, off the top of your head?
Yeah, we what was it last year? Um, all of a sudden there was like a boxing match as like the intermission like halftime show whatever. They had boxing matches in the on the concourse in the Stockton Arena, and I guess like a bunch of like Hell's Angels guys showed up, and they got into it with someone or something happened where like someone was got pissed off, and it was like there apparently like a whole bunch of the Hells Angels showed up, and then next thing you know, there's like 20 cop cars outside the arena, helicopters like circling the rink. We were just waiting for like shit to go kind of like sideways, but it was funny after. But at the time, it's pretty scary. Everyone was kind of scared shitless. Like, what the hell's going on here? There's cops on the intercom telling everybody to like exit the rink. And this was after the game. So I
Okay.
guess I don't know when when everything actually went down with what was happening like with the boxing matches, but we were all in the room like we're like, what the fuck is going on? We were just like, what is happening right now? And everyone's just kind of like shaking their head. I guess that was kind of just an American League story of, sometimes some of the cities you play in, like stuff can happen like that. But
Yeah.
that would be one off the top of my head that I could think of. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's funny. And then moving forward from there, so you signed another NHL contract this time with the Chicago Blackhawks. So what made you sign there? Like, did you have other choices? Like, how did that one go down?
I was talking to my agent again in the summer. He said there was a few teams interested in me. It all happens pretty fast. It was my first kind of experience with um, what's it called, free agency, being unrestricted, so I could kind of have my pick of which team I go to. but like there's some teams would be interested, and then they might be ready to move on if you don't like commit to them, right? So it came time where there was a few teams that were interested in me, and I ended up picking Chicago just based off thinking it was my best opportunity and chance to play in the NHL with the obvious rebuild they're going through, trading everyone. I mean, they made a few trades in the summer and kind of had made it clear that they're trying to rebuild here. So I thought, being a guy in my situation, already in my fourth year pro, I hadn't played yet. If I'm gonna get looks in the NHL, it'd be this year with this team, and pretty cool franchise to be a part of. So made the choice to sign with them.
Yeah, and the choice worked out for you for what you wanted. So you got the call up already. You played 3 games for the Blackhawks. You had an assist. And can you talk about how you found out you were gonna play in your first NHL game and like the whole day leading up to it, how the game went, like all that stuff. So how you found out and from there on.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was Sunday night, I believe. Um, just sitting on the couch. I saw one of the guys got hurt. I think Tyler Johnson on the Hawks. So I was like, oh, they might call someone up. Like just kind of went through my head. And then I got a call from our GM here saying, you're going on the road trip because they were going on a week road trip. Um, he said, yeah, you'll pack your shit. Like you'll meet the team tomorrow at the airport. So I was pretty fired up. Yeah, like pretty, nervous excitement. Got everything ready. Um, and then head coach was really good with me. He said like he let me know I'd be in the lineup because they had 13 forwards, including me. He told me I'd play in Vancouver. So then they flew my parents, my girlfriend out, put them up in the hotel. So it was awesome to have them a part of it. And got my first game in Vancouver. Um, we got smoked, I think, but it was great to get my first game. And then my second game was 2 days later in Calgary. I wasn't supposed to play. I was out of the lineup. I was meeting with a friend for coffee at lunch. Like I was just like I wasn't napping. I wasn't doing any of the normal things. I was just like I'm out of the lineup. Like whatever. Probably would have this friend probably would have been a couple pints if he wasn't working, but he was working downtown. So he's like, he just said like, yeah, let's grab a quick coffee because I think he only had like half an hour or so. Um, and then I was about to go for dinner with some guys on the Wranglers who I'd played with before. And then they told me I'm in the lineup because Taves had gotten sick. So
Oh,
um,
good
yeah,
thing you
this
didn't
is
have
our.
those pints then. Holy
I
crap.
know, right? Like honestly, like probably would have if he wasn't working. And then it just were, yeah, like I ended up being like, oh shit, okay. But I was ready because I was all packed up to go to the rink because we were flying out after. Um, but then I told the guys, I was like, can't make dinner playing. This is at like 4:45. And then I like got on the phone, got some tickets for my parents again, and then I think a couple friends. But lots of my friends around Calgary had tickets to the game anyway, and they were like coming and they'd text me hoping I was in. So ended up getting lots of friends and family in the building again, which was awesome. And then
Yeah.
got my
Is
first,
that the game? When did you get the assist?
that was the game I got the assist in Calgary.
Oh wow. Okay. So
Yes.
that's so cool. Like
Yeah, it was sick.
oh my God. So that's awesome. Good for you. And then yeah, you played one more on the road. Was it Minnesota?
No, that was the only two. I played yesterday, or sorry, 2 days ago in Tampa. That was my third game. I
Oh.
This one was a bit of a shit show as well. We got we played in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then we I got called up after the game. So this was Friday night. So then we bus to Chicago, like 1:30. We get in, and then me and the goalie Anton Hudobin, who'd just been traded here, we're up at 5 at the airport. Flew to Tampa from Chicago, and then I would play Saturday night in Tampa. This was on just Saturday, so
Okay.
It was
And
crazy.
now,
Yeah, not much sleep, and
so are you back with Rockford now, or are you up? Like,
yeah,
where are you?
I got sent back down on the plane. So this all just happened like couple days ago. So I had my
Okay.
first practice back with Rockford today.
So, and then even like a week ago or less, you just signed another NHL contract for next year. So all this, you had a busy week. Um,
Yeah, I guess I didn't even really realize it until I've kind of, until you just mentioned it now. But yeah, I just signed an extension too. So yeah.
yeah, well, congrats on that. And like, it's nice to have some security for you going into the summer. Like you don't have to stress about any of that stuff. And
Yeah, it's
um,
great.
I guess I don't even know. Like, I'm just wondering, like, what is your goal for next year now? Like, having played NHL games, you're on the cusp. Like, is your goal to make it out of camp, or like, what are you thinking for next year?
Yeah, I think that's my goal for sure, right? Like continue to do as well as I can while I'm down here. If I get more games this year, great. Obviously Chicago's not in a playoff position, so we're trying to have a playoff push down here and do the best we can. But yeah, I think for sure my goal is to be, you know, ready for camp and try and get a roster spot because there's going to be spots available. Obviously, the team's going to sign who they sign in the summer and stuff, and things might not are going to change as they do. But I think that's where my mindset's at for it.
Yeah. And then, so two more things on Chicago just that have come to me. So one of them, I think it was in the Calgary game, but I saw this photo of you on the bench, and Patty Kane, I guess scored and was flying by the bench, and I saw a picture of you high-fiving him as he came by. It's a sick photo. Like, how was it playing with Patty Kane?
Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. He's a nice guy. He, congratulated me after getting my first point stuff. Um, it's awesome to kind of just see how he is. He in the Vancouver game, my first game, he scored like kind of like a vintage Kane goal where I think he like button hooked up top and then walked across the blue line and sent like a sifter through, and then he had this long celly that went into the neutral zone. It was pretty sick to watch. You see all his goals, all the celebrations and stuff, and big goals he scored. So that one was pretty sweet to be right on the bench for. But yeah, he was a great guy. He's nice to me. He's went out of his way to kind of say hello and stuff, and it was cool to be around him.
Yeah, and then even just in your first couple games there, like, are you nervous in the game at all, or going in, or like, how are you handling that, or is it just all confidence? Like, how's it for you now, like in your first couple games?
You're definitely nervous. I mean, yeah, like I think it's more nerves like leading up to it, right? Like that's why the Calgary game was pretty honestly it was nice because I didn't think I was playing, so I didn't have those nerves throughout the day. And then yeah, I just kind of got on the bus and went and played. But um, I think once you get to the rink, it's good, right? Like you just go about your routine, you prepare, you get a little nervous for like puck drop. It's obviously you're in the NHL. There's like sold out building. It's like last couple of days ago playing against Tampa. They've finals and two cups in the last 3 years. But then once you play, you're good. You just kind of get into the game and it's all good. So I'd say nerves for sure leading up to it. Though.
Yeah, and what about like the paycheck? You see your paycheck after the call up, like, did you look at it and just be like, oh my God, like, was it one of those?
It took a couple weeks for me, like, because I got paid and then it was just like my American league salary. And then the following paycheck I got was quite a bit more. So yeah, it's nice to see you're not complaining, right? Because I was up
Yeah,
for a week with for my first call up. So yeah, definitely a bit of an increase.
yeah, that's sweet. So pretty much like one more Chicago thing, and we can move on and begin to wrap it up. But is there any stories from your time up with the Blackhawks, or like any welcome to the league moments that maybe you got rocked at center ice, or like anything like that, or just holy crap, I'm in the show, like anything like that for you?
Yeah, I didn't really have like a big one. I'm trying to think. Like, I guess it was more just no, like nothing really happened in that Vancouver game. Like, obviously the game itself, like whole showtime, like with the spectacle and everything like that. So I guess that Kane goal might have been the one for me. Like, I'm on the bench, right, and he scores kind of like a vintage goal that like. So that might have been like the okay shit, like this is this is the show, but nothing like funny or anything, like just getting smoked or like I don't know, like yeah, like that would probably be it for me. I guess the next game we played in Calgary, the warm up tunes, and just like Calgary's a team that's just like big heavy team. They got like most of their guys with no bucket out there like for warm ups. So I mean, I'd known a lot of the guys playing. Um, I'd like met them in camp and stuff like that, and like I'd played with some of the guys that were in the lineup that game too. But yeah, like I think yeah, nothing really. Like that Kane goal, I think would be the main thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's super cool. And then, so just a couple things to wrap it up. We'll get some personality questions here and then fan questions. So personality questions, couple ways for the listeners to get to know you a little bit more. So, how would your teammates describe you?
Uh, just positive guy, fun to be around. Um, bring good energy, good vibes to the room.
Okay. And then, funny one, you somewhat of a staple here on this podcast. How do you eat a cupcake?
Cupcake. Um, Peel off whatever the I peel that off first and then just 2, 3 bites max. I don't, yeah,
Are you like
no
attacking
particular
it
way.
from the side or like the bottom or top? Like how do you
Just
go at
straight
it?
on, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
like straight
Okay.
on icing, like just dive right in.
Okay. Um, if you were stranded on an island for a month with three other members of the Chicago Blackhawks organization, so anyone, players, staff, whatever, who would you want them to be?
Oh, um, let's see. I'll go with some teammates on the team, like that I've played with mostly this year. I'd say, honestly, some of the guys that just got traded. I'd say one of the guys that just got traded, Carson Gisevic. Um, he's hilarious and just like he was a great guy to be around. And then uh, um, let's go with my neighbors down the street, Cole Gutman, a guy who's been around. Got to know he's been up with the Blackhawks quite a bit this year. Um, uh, he's actually having shoulder surgery, but so his year's done. But yeah, I think it'd just be a funny guy to see what he's brings to the table in that situation. Then his roommate, Big Mo, Morgan Adam Moisant, he's a guy that's he's a role guy on our team. He hasn't been in the lineup the whole year, but he's been one of the guys who's brought a good energies, good vibes to the room. So I mean, who knows what what the hell they'd bring on an island, but
Yeah.
just like some of the teammates that I've played with this year, it'd be fun to have those guys there.
Yeah, so you'd just be going with like a comedy island, basically. Just have a couple laughs for the month until you're not stranded
Yeah,
anymore.
I mean, if
Yeah.
we're stranded, fuck, I don't know if we can do much to get off.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll have a good time.
100%. And then so we talked like you're taking business courses and stuff in school, but if you couldn't be a pro hockey player or pro athlete of any sport, what would you want to do with your life?
I gotta figure it out. I don't know. Like I ended up graduating with my business degree, so we'll see where
Okay,
that
nice.
plays in along. But I'm signed for next year. I'll keep playing as long as I can. I'll probably stay within the game somehow. Probably don't want to be traveling as much though. So, uh, um, yeah, that's a tough one. I don't really know as of yet. Um,
Okay.
we'll see when it comes along.
Yeah, there you go. So a couple fan questions before we let you go, but one that everyone always is asking, what stick do you use and what specs on it?
I use I was the CCM rep was just here today too. jet speed, FT5. Uh, um, I think it's like a Lie 6, pretty standard. 75 flex. Curve is P19, pretty straight. It's not a whole lot to it. Like everyone who sees it around the room, they say like, "How do you still shoot with this thing?" sort of thing. But I
Yeah.
like it. It's good for backhand, like good for like passing the puck. And it's got like a little heightened on the blade. It's not like the full paddle, but there's a little bit of it heightened. So I'd recently switched to that in the last couple of years, and it's
Okay.
nice. Yeah.
That's a good breakdown. Some guys will be like, "Oh, I don't even know what I use." Like
Yeah.
that's a good breakdown. So,
Honestly, I don't usually know too much about it. I was talking to this CCM rep literally today about like everything. I might try something different in the summer, so
okay.
went over everything.
Yeah, it's fresh on your mind. Um, two more for you. Who's the funniest guy that you've played with?
Oh, that I've played with. I'd have to go back to school with that one at U of A and say Stefan Legault.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is he
he
still
was.
playing? Where is he now?
No, he's not playing anymore. But I played with him for 2 years um, at U of A. Lots of funny stories with him. But yeah, him. He's hilarious. He had some good stories over our time at school, and he's a ghetto member. Only U of A guys would know. Some guys might know, but shout out to the ghetto for all the guys at U of A. You know.
Okay. And then last one here. What's your favorite road rink slash city at any level? So maybe we can split up like favorite road city and favorite road rink at any level you've played at.
Road City. I always remember in the dub, I liked playing in Spokane. Like that rink was really fun. It was a huge rink. They would get really good fans. We had like a rivalry playing with like Kootenai because we were only 3.5 hours away. So they were in the U.S. division, but we'd play them like quite a bit throughout the year. So I liked playing there. Um, City, I don't know, in San Diego, probably in the American League. It's so
Yeah.
nice there. Like it's we had our rookie party there, my first pro year when I was a rookie, and it was a really good time. We did like scavenger hunt along the boardwalk there. Super sunny, super nice. We got to spend like two full days off there. So just yeah, I guess good vibes in that city all around, and um that would be the two.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got for you here. I really want to thank you for taking the time again. This was an awesome interview, and I'm myself being a guy who loves like U Sports hockey works there and stuff. Like I think it's awesome to hear from you and to meet you. So thanks for doing this, and I'm looking forward to following your career going forward.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on, and yeah, it's good to see more U Sports guys making a name for themselves and signing pro contracts. So, yeah, thanks again.
All right, I want to thank Luke Philp for that one. Awesome interview. Always cool to meet a guy like that and talk to him. So I'm super happy he gave us the time and appreciate that. And but yeah, Cards, what do you got for us here in the back end?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have too much to cover here. We were talking earlier, but no, I got to listen to the interview as well, and that was what a story it was really, and just kind of shows where you're never really out of it. Like no matter which bounces or which direction your career takes, just kind of work hard and good things will happen to you. And he's a prime example of that. And I wish him the best of success in the rest of his career, just because a story like that is so incredible. But we got some big stuff coming in the golf world this week. We got a major championship, the first since Augusta. So PGA championship in Rochester. And I know we were just talking about you maybe sliding over because it's pretty close to you there. But no, I want to get your prediction. And actually, I want to mention too, like, what do you think? Like you just said, you played in in a mud patch. You came off the golf course drenched in mud and stuff. So in Rochester, like it's got to be very similar weather. So what do you think about that? Like they could be cold. They could be. What happens if DJ or JT's going down the fairway and all of a sudden he just gets soaked in mud like you, and then like what do they do then?
I mean, I imagine they're not playing at the same quality of course that I'm playing at. Maybe they'll take care of it a little better for those guys. But um, yeah, I mean, it might be a little chilly. It's been hot weather here, but I don't think we're into summer yet, and these
Yeah,
guys
that's
aren't
why.
used to the cold at all,
Yeah,
right?
no, like they're typically playing events like they just played in Texas last week. So like for them to come to Rochester, like I feel like Rochester in May, like it's a little bit premature to be putting it in Rochester. Like I don't know, that's just my opinion. Like I feel like
Yeah.
you should wait maybe for the I don't know, the US Open, or but I guess you can't change the schedule, so it's tough. And they got a good venue. So, but I don't know. What I do know is I want to get your pick here before we kind of wrap things up and send it into next week. So let's get your bold prediction. I know you don't even have a clue
No,
who
I
you're gonna
got a
take.
clue.
Or
I'm on Xander Schauffele.
okay, because I was gonna wait for you to say Zalatoris, and I was gonna tell you he's out for a while.
Oh, well, I'm always rooting for Zalatoris, so I hope he's back soon. But Xander Schauffele, bro, he looks good, man. He always does.
Oh, he always looks good. He plays so consistent and finding his form last week, with a second place finish, I believe. So I like that pick a lot. No, I do, because you can pick
Who do
that
you
guy on any
have?
golf course. He hits it long enough to compete, and he's always in the fairway. So that's a good recipe for success as long as he can make a few putts here and there. So I
Hmm.
like it, and I'm gonna go with DJ, the
Okay.
guy who just won on the Live Tour. We talked about it earlier. Like I mean, I've been talking about it for a while. Like Kepka found form right before the Masters, won on Live, and then came over and kind of did big things at Augusta. Um, so I'm looking for more of the same out of DJ here this week. I think that's a good possibility. But no, I don't know. I mean I think that wraps us up. You?
Well, I have one more thing to say, kind of one and a half. Firstly, just quickly, do you think Liv is here to stay at this point?
I think they're having some success that people didn't think they were going to have. Like you look at their last couple events, they're having great showings from the crowd. The players seem to be loving it, and the better players on the tour are starting to play better too, which is helping. Um, it makes it seem like a little bit of a joke if guys are going over there and just getting all this money and not performing. But all their big guys that they paid to bring over to their tour are starting to really show up every single week. So that's definitely going to add some traction to their tour. And then if they can get the backing and support from fans, um, I do. I eventually I think there will be some sort of level ground, common ground here with the PGA Tour, and they'll figure it out. But yeah, I do think it's here to stay for at least for a little bit. You?
Yeah. It looks like they're changing the market that they're trying to appease. Like I see they're blasting tunes during the
Yeah, it's
play
pretty
and stuff,
cool
and
actually.
gets to like the younger market. Like people want to watch golf, like get the party atmosphere going. That's kind of what they're going for, and I think it's a good way to get it to the younger generation. But one more last thing I wanted to say was just about clubs. We kind of been talking about golf clubs. I texted you a bit about it, but my one buddy went and got like fitted for clubs from TaylorMade, and he was saying they like added. He's tall. They added like a half inch on his clubs, and then he said like they changed the lofts where now he's like losing yardage on his swings, but he's hitting it like straight every time and um
Yeah.
stuff like that. So what do you think about this? Like he said never buy stock clubs. Like you got to get these things fitted. Do you have fitted clubs?
So I have fitted clubs, but in my opinion, like if you were gonna ask if you should go out and spend the money to get a fitting and all that, I would say no. Like I would say it doesn't it's not going to make that much of a difference. This is just my personal opinion. Um, but I do think it's important for like if you're going to be a really good player who's going to be shooting under par all the time, I think it's important to know what you're using and know your clubs. But I think if you're anything over like a 10 handicap or stuff like that, like I don't think it's really that necessary until you get really comfortable with your clubs and you really want to know exactly what they're going to do and exactly where they're going to go and stuff. And mind you, a fitting will help a little bit because they can stand up your club or bend it down and stuff like that so that you can have a better like angle of attack and stuff. But that's for your swing that you're swinging that day. If you lose your swing or you're not confident there, so it won't matter in a few days anyway. Like it'll all change, and then you're trying to find your game again. And I think fittings are good, but at the end of the day, golf is golf, and everyone's gonna complain about it the next day anyway. So I don't know. I don't know if it's worth the money yet for you personally, if that's what you were asking. But if you weren't asking that, I do think fittings are good.
Okay, so I'll get better with my clubs. I'll figure out a consistent swing, and then we'll go from
Yes.
there.
Once
But
you're
my
very
game's been getting
consistent.
better.
Yeah, once you're consistent though, and like what I think is like if you can if you could hit a shot and not watch it afterwards and know where it is, then you're starting to understand the game, understanding where your ball goes and the feels of the club and stuff, and then you can do that because you can actually relate with what they're doing to your clubs to kind of understand and know why, you know.
Makes sense. Well, anyway, with all that said, thanks for listening. I'll flip it to you, Cards, to wrap it up as always.
Yeah, I mean, we just did a little golf channel segment there. We break down the golf club world and stuff like that. But no, it's looking to be another big week. We got a PGA championship just in Rochester, actually, if you're from Southern Ontario and you want to go check that out. Always good entertainment. No free ads. And yeah, just a beautiful day. I'm headed out on the course myself after a nice workout. I know you got a bunch of stuff going on too. So with that said, we'll leave it till next week, and we're excited to be back in the next with you guys.